The June Days Uprising, French, Les Journées de Juin, which erupted in Paris on June 22, 1848, was a brief but brutal civil conflict that profoundly shaped the trajectory of the nascent Second French Republic. This violent confrontation between the working classes of Paris and the newly established government marked a critical turning point, extinguishing the initial hopes of a democratic and social republic, and solidifying a more conservative political landscape in France. The spark of revolution, February and its aftermath. To understand the June Days, we must first look to the February Revolution of 1848. This earlier uprising had successfully overthrown the July monarchy of King Louis Philippe, largely due to widespread dissatisfaction stemming from economic hardship, limited political participation, and a perceived disconnect between the monarchy and the people. The February Revolution ushered in the Second Republic, a provisional government that initially sought to address the grievances of the working class. Among the key reforms introduced were the national workshops, Ateliers Nationaux. These state-funded programs were designed to provide work and a minimal income for the unemployed, a response to the severe economic depression plaguing France. While initially hailed as a progressive measure, the workshops quickly became a source of contention. They were expensive to maintain, funded by new taxes that alienated landowners and peasants alike, and often provided only menial, unproductive tasks. The influx of workers into Paris seeking employment in the workshops further strained resources and heightened social tensions. The inevitable clash, dissolution, and desperation. By June 1848, the moderate and conservative factions within the new National Assembly, wary of the workshops' cost and perceived socialist leanings, decided to dissolve them. The decree, announced on June 21st, mandated that able-bodied men from the workshops would either have to enlist in the army or be deported to work outside Paris. This decision was the immediate catalyst for the June Days Uprising. For thousands of Parisian workers, the closing of the workshops was not just the loss of employment, but a betrayal of the revolutionary ideals they had fought for just months earlier. It was a stark confirmation that the new republic, in their eyes, was failing to deliver on its promise of social welfare and economic justice. The brutality of the barricades. The response was swift and visceral. On June 22nd, massive protests erupted, quickly escalating into full-blown insurrection by June 23rd. Across the working-class districts of Paris, hundreds of barricades were erected, transforming the city's narrow streets into fortresses. Workers, artisans, students, and other radical sympathizers, fueled by desperation and a sense of betrayal, took to the streets. The government, under the leadership of General Louis-Eugène Cavaignac, was given dictatorial powers to suppress the rebellion. Cavaignac, with the support of the National Guard and regular army troops, employed brutal force, including artillery, against the insurgents' barricades. The fighting was intense and indiscriminate, lasting for 4 days, from June 22nd to June 26th. The conflict was a stark class war, with the Parisian working class pitted against the forces of the bourgeois republic. Casualties were heavy on both sides, though disproportionately so among the insurgents. Estimates suggest around 1,500 government troops were killed or injured, while approximately 3,000 insurgents perished. Thousands more were arrested, and many were subsequently exiled to Algeria. The Archbishop of Paris, Denis Auguste Affray, was notably killed during peace negotiations, highlighting the extreme violence of the period, legacy, and aftermath. The June Days Uprising marked a decisive defeat for the radical democratic and socialist movements in France. It shattered the illusion of a unified Republican front and demonstrated the deep chasm between the aspirations of the working class and the more conservative aims of the bourgeoisie. The brutal suppression instilled a deep sense of fear and disillusionment among the populace, paving the way for a more authoritarian political climate. In the aftermath, the French Constitution of 1848 was adopted, creating a strong executive presidency. This ultimately led to the election of Louis-Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon III, as president, who would later stage a coup d'état and establish the Second French Empire, effectively ending the Second Republic. The June days served as a stark lesson for political thinkers like Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, who viewed it as a definitive example of class struggle and the inherent contradictions within capitalist society. Its legacy underscored the fragility of political unity in the face of deep-seated social and economic inequalities, a lesson that continued to resonate throughout French and European history.